did you take from the picture that Donald Trump posted last night?
It's just a reflection of the strategic relationship.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you know,
the pictures
no, hold on. We're
what?
the first country in the world that President Trump is welcoming to Mar-a-Lago. Canada was the first country.
It was Argentina before.
Dude.
He's trolling you. Conservatives threw another grenade at the Liberals today when Pierre Poilievre offered to pause the SDTC filibuster in order to allow Chrystia Freeland to tell Canadians exactly how much she's blown the budget. Shortly after that, reporters swarmed the Liberal cabinet to get their response. However, they were still drowning in damage control over Donald Trump making fun of Trudeau and Canada, so their response was, let's just say the reporters were not having it.
Let's take a look.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here today. Justin Trudeau has lost control of everything after 9 years. He's lost control of spending, lost control of the deficit, lost control of immigration and the border. And this has real consequences for real people. He's doubled the cost of housing, meaning that 80% of Canadians now believe that home ownership is only for the very rich. He's doubled the number of gun crimes with his catch and release criminal justice policy. He's doubled the number of people lined up at food banks with a carbon tax that on the farmer who produces the food and the trucker who ships the food, therefore all who buys the food. He has doubled the national debt, adding more debt than all prior prime ministers combined. And now he's completely lost control of our finances. Remember, his ministers said there would be a cap on the deficit of no more than $40 billion. $40 billion. And now we hear that the deficit has gone much further than that. Why won't the finance minister tell us the true number? What's she hiding? Is she hiding that Trudeau lost control of the deficit this year, just like every year? Yesterday, you all asked her if she would have a fall economic update. She wouldn't answer. The Prime Minister's office told you that there would be a fall update. So apparently these two don't speak. Or maybe they're fighting over how big and out of control the deficit actually is. Once again, such a fight would be a loss of control by the Prime Minister. And so we're today, common sense conservatives, are calling for the Finance Minister to introduce a fall update to indicate whether she's keeping her promise to cap the deficit at $40 billion or whether Trudeau's completely lost control of the deficit once again. Not only will we cooperate to let her introduce that fall update, we will actually give her a Christmas gift. We'll give her 2 hours out of our Conservative Opposition Motion Day on Monday for her to stand on her feet and tell us how much she's lost control of the nation's finances.
A few moments later.
Willing to give 2 hours for the Conservative filibuster for the Finance Minister to present the full economic statement on Monday. Will you take him up on his offer?
Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to think about that. I hadn't heard about it. But, you know, what I would say to them is that we should end the filibuster. That is something that is extremely important. It's enough, right? There's important work that we need to get done. And so, you know, instead of just giving up a couple of hours, they should actually just send this to Prague where the Speaker sent it in the first place.
You know, the state of our government is revealed when it's the leader of the official opposition that has to allow time for the government to actually get anything done.
Well, that's exactly it. This is like a psychological thing now, because it's not just the Conservatives saying we've maintained control of the House, with the support of the other opposition parties, I will add. But now Pierre Poilievre is being so gracious as to allow the government 2 hours of time to put forward their own business to tell him what he wants to know. Like, this is like psychological torture for the Liberals right now.
Well, and it's just getting under all of their skin, right? Because they're the ones in government, but yet Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives and the other opposition parties, let's just be clear, are the ones that are holding all the cards here. Like, this is what happens when you're in a minority government.
Well, and this is what happens when the opposition functions as an opposition. We're not the whole way there yet because we don't have our election, but at least the government is not able to put forward any more disastrous bills in this House.
Well, and this is it, right? But again, we've mentioned this before. Pay close attention to the talking points and how the Liberals are speaking. They're not talking about the Bloc. They're not talking about the NDP because they need to be nice to them to hopefully one day end the filibuster.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
But they can't shoot themselves in the foot by talking badly about the Bloc and the NDP because they need one of them.
Right, and they know that the Conservatives are going to be their biggest threat in the next election. It's going to be the Conservatives that unseat the Liberals, not the Bloc, not the NDP. Those two, I mean, especially the NDP, they're going to be a footnote.
Well, let's be honest, the Bloc might unseat the Liberals from the official opposition.
True, but the NDP is going to be lucky if they get through the next election and still have party status.
As we said earlier, the NDP party is dead. We've held the funeral. We've buried the buried the bodies, as it were, thrown the flowers. Nobody's looking back at the NDP at this point.
Mr. Freeman, depose
the fall economic statement?
Thank you.
Yeah, well, first of all, I mean, we haven't been able to get anything done in this Parliament. I mean, the Conservatives have paralyzed Parliament. They've not allowed anything to move forward. It's deeply frustrating because it's the action of one party to try to grind to a halt the operation of all of Parliament. I mean, we have something, I'll take connected care as an example, Bill C-72. I'm not aware of anybody who disagrees with this bill. This bill is going to save lives. It's about interconnecting our data system. If you talk to the people who are responsible for health data, what that is going to do to revolutionize care is huge, and nobody's even opposed to it. And yet we can't even get things that everybody agrees with through this Parliament. There's going to be an election. I'm coming to that. So there's going to be an election. We live in a democracy. We have an election that's stated for the fall. Parliamentarians are expected to work on behalf of their constituents to get things done. Now, I don't know, whatever reason, he finally is saying he's going to allow, as one person in one party, he's going to allow the other parties to get work done for a period of time, dictating when something might happen. So I think it's positive that he's allowing Parliament to do its work and that he's open to Parliament doing its work. But in terms of the conversations that have been had on that, I haven't been part of them. So we'll wait to see what those conversations will involve.
That's sort of like Jagmeet Singh being one man who is allowing us not to go to election right now.
Well, and we didn't show it in our question period video, but Pierre Poilievre actually echoed something that we've been saying. I think Tanya said it first, was, who is he to decide? Because the NDP were heckling him when he was talking about this, and he said, listen, like the NDP are saying right now that they're not going to allow the Conservatives, and he said that's not his choice to make.
Speaker, Canadians want to fire that costly Prime Minister. His MPs want to fire that costly Prime Minister. The only one keeping him in power is the NDP leader, who again says the Liberals are too weak, too selfish, and too beholden to corporate interests to fight for people. Oh, and now they're complaining that Canadians might choose me if there were an election. That's not their choice. It's not my choice. It's not any of their choices. That's the decision of the Canadian people. So why doesn't he turn the decision over to the people who run this country, Canadians, in a carbon tax election?
That's Canadians' choice to make, and it was phenomenal actually hearing him say that, because Jagmeet is basically saying, well, I don't want to go to an election because the Conservatives be worse. Well, you don't get to make that determination, buddy boy.
No, you don't. Canadians do. And I was going to say, I think it's hilarious that maybe it's those late night YouTube sessions that maybe Pierre heard something.
Maybe. We like to think that, but he's a smart guy, so we're not taking credit for anything.
A girl can dream.
But this is the thing, right? You have these cabinet members. This is number 2, Mark Holland, Minister of Health, and Mark, get used to it, because this is going to be how a Conservative government runs, because you're not going to allow to dictate things And it's funny. You're not used to not being able to dictate things. This is going to be the first time in 9 years where you're not dictating how things run. So it's funny because he's saying, well, I'm grateful they're allowing us to be able to do something. It's like, you guys got yourself into this situation because if you were governing with integrity and if you were governing in Canada's best interest, you wouldn't be in this situation.
Right, because there wouldn't be a report that you would need to hand over to the RCMP.
Mr. Poilievre's suggestion.
Well, I always take what he said with a grain of salt. There's always a hidden agenda, so I don't know what he's proposing. We gave them a way to stop this parliamentary debate that is blocking for 2 months the work of Parliament. Canadians work at home. They don't debate for 2 months. They debate, they move on, and they work. So that's what they're asking the opposition parties. Unlock the Parliament. There are serious things to be done. We live in a different world. People need a break. That's what we offer on the GST. They want us to see Parliament working, and I think is concerning for Canadians to see that for almost 2 months now we've not been able to move forward. We have provided 20,000 pages of evidence, and at some stage, Canadians are saying, "Listen, get to work," and therefore that's what we're pushing. And if there is a way for us to get back to work, people are looking for that, obviously.
There is a way to get back to work. And it's you guys handing over those documents unredacted to the RCMP.
Yeah, it doesn't count if most of those pages actually have black marks all over them. You can't just say, well, we've handed all over all these pages, so it's fine. No, it's not. And that's why the Speaker essentially made his ruling. That's why he ruled in favor of the question of privilege.
I can't believe it's been nearly 2 months and the Liberals are still using the same talking points about how, it's the Conservatives seizing the House and, we need to work together and all this garbage. We need to end this. You guys have the power to end this.
Well, and here's the other thing. They keep saying that Canadians aren't standing for this. Canadians aren't happy with this. Really? Well, the latest polls actually show increased support for the Conservatives.
Right, because the Conservatives are trying to get something done. They're trying to get justice for Canadians. Well, and you guys are blocking it.
And look at the latest, right? For months, all we heard about the Randy Boissonneau scandal was there's nothing to see here. This is a witch hunt, yada, 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 yada from the Liberals. And then lo and behold, we find out that he was managing his company from cabinet. He has a company that is embroiled in I don't even know how many lawsuits right now. It's under criminal investigation. It's been ordered to pay out $8 million in restitution to a company. And then we find out that the guy has been lying about his Indigenous heritage. So I think that is proof in the pudding that Conservatives have been doing the right thing. And that the Liberals have been trying to cover stuff up. No, don't look over here. Don't look over here. Look at the other Randy.
Well, and the Conservatives were the ones that were keeping the heat on in the Arrive scam scandal as well, because they were the ones that, kept pressuring for more and more committee meetings, and that resulted in Christian Firth being hauled to the bar, as well as having his home and office investigated.
Yeah, raided by the RCMP. And all we heard from the Liberals, remember, was this is a witch hunt, and I don't know why we continue to meet on this. Remember that one, Iqra Khalid? Because I do. So this is what you continue to see. So far, every single thing, at least to our knowledge, that the Conservatives have been really pushing and really putting a lot of effort on and time on, has yielded incredible scandals. Look at the SDTC. It's the same thing. All we kept hearing from Champagne is, well, we're making adjustments, and they're taking the recommendations seriously. Really? I don't think so. Obviously, not enough.
What did you take from the picture that Donald Trump posted last night of standing over a mountain range with the Canadian flag?
With a smile. I guess he loves Canada. I love Canada too, That's what I did. I saw that with a smile. But the thing that matters to me...
Is Canada a joke to him?
No, but I would say he thinks about Canada more, and in a way, it's just a reflection of the strategic relationship we have developed. Let's remember...
What do you mean by that?
Well,
the picture pictures in
No, hold on. Hold
reflection
on.
of
We're
what?
the first country in the world that President Trump is welcoming to Mar-a-Lago. Canada was the first country.
It was Argentina before.
Well, at least the first G7 leader that was hosted in Mar-a-Lago.
I love how they always push the goalpost. Well, it's the first in the world. Actually, Argentina. Oh, well, then it was the first G7 leader. Like, come on.
Oh, I think he thinks about the strategic relationship with Canada. Dude.
He's trolling you.
He's totally trolling.
He's trolling Trudeau. Like, just...
Was he thinking about Greenland a lot when he posted that picture of the Trump Tower in that hamlet in Greenland? Like, give me a break. This is... He's an antagonist, right? Yeah, and this is damage control. This is the problem. The Liberals are so embroiled in so much crap right now. Like, they are literally up to their neck in political crap. And there's so many talking points that they have to keep straight. They don't even know what to say anymore.
No, you know what? They should just step aside and let a real leader take over.
Have the public accounts. Why don't we have public accounts?
The legislation relating to the public accounts states that they should be delivered prior to the end of the calendar year, and that is an obligation, a legal obligation that our government will adhere to.
But why so late?
The work is ongoing. The documents have been delivered to the Auditor General for her signature. We expect to hear back from her.
That was a made-up answer on the fly.
I was going to say, I saw your face light up, so you obviously noticed something that I didn't.
Oh, my goodness. Look at the difference in the answers and her body language and the intonation. So the first answer she said was basically a talking point. Well, you know, it's in the legislation that we need to deliver this before the end of the year. Never mind the fact that the Liberal government has never delivered it this late, and they've always presented it to the House of Commons.
Well, because they've never had the House seized in this manner before.
Well, and then when she was challenged on it, all of a sudden she didn't know what to say. Like, if you look at what she said and how she said it, she didn't know what to say, and it was like,
But why so late?
The work is ongoing. The documents have been delivered to the Auditor General for her signature. We expect to hear back from her.
Well, the work is ongoing. No. No, the work is not ongoing. You've had it, and the reason you've had it, and the reason why we know you've had it, is the parliamentary budget officer has already talked about the fact that you guys are running like a 45, 46, 47 billion dollar deficit. So the numbers are there because he has them, and you guys have just been waiting for the House to be unseized because, oh, right, you won't hand over the SDTC documents. And now you're trying to blame the Auditor General and say, well, the work's on. How could the work be ongoing if you're just waiting for a signature from the Auditor General? You said two different things there. Both are lies, and you know it. And then you tried to run away. So don't give us that crap.